I am not your son. I don't identify myself as a boy. And it was very hard for my mom to hear that thing because she raised me as a son for 18 years. I remember when I was 4 or 5 years old, people used to mistaken me for a girl. And it's very ridiculous for us to expect a 4 or 5-year child to understand what it means to be a man or a woman. For me, I always felt I am a girl. And people around me always questioned this. And they made me feel different. I wasn't different. I was the same for me. And as I was growing, I went through multiple abuse, bullying and harassment at my schools and also in my peer groups. And that made me question my own identity. I was in a conflict and I always lived with that dilemma for a very long time. I went through depression and I also had suicidal thoughts. When I was in my HSC, I was a science student and I didn't have time for myself. But I was into depression and I thought that maybe I should end my life because I don't see any hope. But my mom gave me courage and I came out of it. But it wasn't easy. I knew somewhere that I am a woman and it took so many years for me to assure myself that I am a woman and I should not fear. And I always compared my past and my previous. When I saw people celebrating themselves in pride, I thought that maybe I have a future. I could celebrate my identity. That's when I knew that I am a trans woman. I had to go through a very long process to understand myself. And when I was 18, one of my cross-dressing pictures got leaked to my brother's friend and he confronted that to my brother. He went on to confront it to my mom. My mom was very emotional at that time and my brother was very aggressive. I could not say anything to them. I could not explain. I just uttered one sentence that I am not your son. I don't identify myself as a boy. And it was very hard for my mom to hear that thing because she raised me as a son for 18 years. But my mom told me just one thing. When I was doing my engineering and she knew that I am doing it out of family pressure, she told me that what you are as a person, you don't choose that, but you can choose your career. So if you don't want to do engineering, just leave it. That was a turning point in my life when I didn't have to look back again. I took admission for my bachelor's and I came out as a trans person in the second year of my college. I participated in annual beauty pageant and I also supposedly happened to become the first trans person to win the 2 highest titles of my college. I consider myself amongst the privileged one because my family gave me education, they gave me a house to live. But the situation was not so easy. To grow my hair, it was very difficult. To be myself, it was very difficult. The environment trans person lives are very toxic and it is very problematic for them to be themselves. Till today, my mom does not acknowledge me as Anjali, but they know I identify myself as Anjali, and that is what I need as a person. When you come out to your family, the coming out process of your family starts and you need to do hand-holding. It's a very emotional process for them as well, and you need to be there to understand their circumstances. I always believe that coming out is important, but it's not compulsion. My story of coming out as Anjali is not the ideal story of every LGBTQ person out there. So choose wisely, come out when you feel you are ready, and I'm sure the world out there will be ready to accept you with the open arms.